So I have Group Captain Sadiq Shehu. He's a retired military officer and security consultant. He's here with me in our Abuja studio. And from our Meduguri studio is Ambassador Usman Tariki. He's Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much.
Let me begin by asking, you heard what the Speaker, Honorable Bajabia Miller, said yesterday. They wanted to get Nigerians back. But with what is happening on the ground, things are really getting messy. How easy and how can we go about it?
Thank you very much. First, I will compliment the Honorable Speaker and members of the National Assembly for showing concern for the flight of our students and other diplomatic staff and even other people that are on their own personal businesses in any of these two countries. However, having said that, I had the Speaker saying that by Friday, I think that's by today, if nothing happens, some members of the Committee on Foreign Defense should leave for Ukraine and by contacting Air Peace and make sure that they come back by Monday with as many students as possible as they can. Well, like I said, it's a good they are showing concern, but the practicality of what the Honorable Speaker said is much to be questioned. For once, we can hear that almost all civil flights over those areas have been postponed, have been suspended. Even neighboring countries like Moldova, and other countries around there, they have stopped flights into those areas. So looking at that, what is the feasibility that if our speakers, our assembly members go there, they will be able to get? First, that statement, with due respect, ignores the complexity of that kind of operation, which in military parlance is called non-combatant evacuation. Now, non-combatant evacuation basically is a diplomatic operation, but it is heavily supported by the military element for different reasons. Yes, Mr. Onyema graciously offered to carry our people when they were challenged in South Africa, and then during the COVID, the COVID incident when it started. However, the problem we have in Ukraine and Russia is a different kettle of fish altogether. So
you can't use a passenger airline the same way we did in South Africa. Has this kind of situation happened before that has faced Nigeria, and how did we handle it?
Good. What will decide the kind of whether you are going to use the military instrument or purely the diplomatic and then the civilian air assets is the nature of the environment. In non-combatant evacuation, you have three kinds of environments. You have the permissive environment. Permissive environment is where the government of the country you are going is supportive of your venture, is in control of the territory, and you are not going to encounter any resistance. If you have that kind of situation, it is best even not to involve the military in that. But the next kind of environment you have is the ambivalent environment, whereby the government of the country is not opposing your operation, but the government itself is not in control of areas we are going to carry out.
Does this look like what is happening right now?
It's something like that.
Ukraine does not, I'm not sure because Russian forces have entered into the capital from what we understand.
In fact, the situation has even passed from the ambivalent, it has gone to hostile environment. Why is the hostile environment? This is where there is presence of actual fighting in that area. The risk of being, targeted either deliberately or by mistake is high there.
So does our military have the capacity to be able to evacuate in this kind of scenario?
Good. In this kind of scenario, it would have been the military instrument supporting the diplomats to do this operation. Because to be fair to Mr. Onyema, I don't speak for him, even the insurance companies that cover his aircraft, they will think twice about giving him cover insurance to go and fly in an area where there is actual fighting. Now, to the question, this is what I had wanted the National Assembly to do. You see, every bad thing is an opportunity of getting things ready. We do not have right now the capacity of our armed forces to be involved and carry the number of people we have there. But it has not always been like that. Only that we do not learn from history. In 1976, Nigerians were beleaguered in Equatorial Guinea as a result of, problem they had. We had a lot of migrant workers in Equatorial Guinea as of 1970s during the British regime. And then the government was oppressing them. In fact, some of them were being employed in something that is almost like slavery. And then they demanded to come back. By that time, the Nigerian Air Force alone had about 9 C-130 aircraft.
What's the capacity?
The capacity of the C-130, it could carry up to 100 people at once.
That's 90,000.
Yes, and it depends on the configuration. There are different.
Do we have such capacity now?
We do not have. That
Just
is
a moment. I'll come back to you. I'm loving the insight, and I want us to Nigerians who are watching right now, so that we know the options available to government. The Nigerian government wants to evacuate. But do we have the capacity? Let's speak to the Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Seriki, who is in our Maiduguri studio. Give us a sense, Ambassador, of what we need to do right now. How complex is the situation? And how can we get Nigerians who are trapped now in Ukraine out of harm's way and safely back on Nigerian soil?
Thank you very much for having me on the program. Nigerians and presumably nationals of many other countries are trapped in Ukraine right now on account of the conflict situation prevailing in that country now. Getting Nigerians out today is a matter of the highest priority. I can imagine that right now in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they would have established a situation room to consider this emergency and develop scenarios about getting Nigerians out of Ukraine. Having said that, it is very, very timely that the National Assembly had shown concern regarding the situation and fate of Nigerians. The first and immediate thing that we should do is to get across to Moscow, that is to our embassy in Moscow, to make a démarche, a diplomatic representation to the belligerent power, that is Russia, to inform them of the existence of Nigerian nationals. And if we have the accurate figure, we can give them to say that this is the number of Nigerians in Ukraine whose welfare, well-being, safety and security are matters of the highest priority to the Nigerian government. We should also convey the same position, the same note, to the Russian embassy in Abuja, for them to be aware of our concern. And at the same time, I will urge that we should reach the permanent mission of Nigeria in New York and Geneva to deploy or submit the same démarche, the same note to the missions of Russia, so that from all angles, the Russian government will be made aware of the existence of Nigerians and to ensure practically the safety of the Nigerian population there. My other recommendation is for us to reach the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Society in Geneva and their office in Abuja to coordinate the evacuation of our citizens in that country. Nigeria has experience of evacuating Nigerians from other countries. Recently, as late as 2016-17, we went to South Africa to bring Nigerians back at the behest of the National Assembly and the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So we can do it, but right now, as I'm speaking to you, the situation in Ukraine is very fluid, very indeterminate, very chaotic, and uncertain.
Right. Ambassador,
it has been reported
let me jump in quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me jump in quickly and get this insight from you. You're making reference that the Nigerian government should have a diplomatic conversation with Moscow. And that's perhaps going to happen because maybe Nigeria has not opposed on giving a stand against what Russia is doing against Ukraine. And perhaps we'd like to know what is the position or the foreign policy of Nigeria in this kind of situation. We've seen several countries who have spoken against the action Russia is taking against Ukraine. Do we have any policy in that regard?
Well, thank you. In such circumstances, such situations, Nigeria and the African countries will speak in tandem and the African Union. And I think the African Union has issued a statement on behalf of the member states in terms of deploring the situation, particularly the resort to armed force to settle diplomatic incidents or to correct certain perceptions about inadequacies in the relationship between NATO and Russia. or between the US and Russia, or between Ukraine, for that matter, and Russia. So the African Union is quite emphatic, and Nigeria being part of the African Union, I will assume that that is our position. We are also part of the United Nations, and the United Nations has also called for the respect for the treaty obligations of countries to maintain peace and stability and to refrain from resorting to use of armed force in any circumstance. So I believe that should be the position with regards to Nigeria. But that is an aspiration which sometimes is breached by the realities of real politics. And this is what we are seeing today, unfortunately, where diplomacy has failed, where accommodation has failed, and where real politics is now coming to the fore. And under such circumstances, a country of Nigeria's position, it will be very perilous for us to take sides outside the normative principles that have been established by treaties, by charters and conventions.
All right.
So we cannot go unilaterally.
Ambassador, let me get
yeah.
Let me get your parting shot, yourself and group captain here, and it's going to be about the way forward, the solution. Should we be preparing a military alternative, or what do we do right now? Group captain, let me take it from you first.
The solution, by way of recommendation, we were caught unprepared for this, whether diplomatically or militarily. Diplomatically, with due respect, the ambassador mentioned we should tell the Russians, actually, if we have the numbers. I think it should become a standard operational procedure for all our embassies to always ensure they have an updated list of Nigerians that are in their country. I know some Nigerians don't register when they enter a country, but again, it's a two-way thing.
Right.
But the embassy should try and do that. Secondly, we should have a plan, because right now, we do not have any national policy on this kind of evacuation. That's why you hear the speaker saying people should go. So there should be a policy.
Right.
Our military should be equipped
for
sea, naval airlift and airlift capacity for them to go wherever our citizens are.
Let me get Ambassador's parting shot. Ambassador, just in 30 seconds, what is your option or solution that you'll be preferring tonight for Nigerian government?
I'm so sorry. My earphone is failing me. I didn't hear you well. Can you repeat the question, please?
So I'm saying that if you can, in 30 seconds, Ambassador, if in 30 seconds you can give us your parting shot on the way forward, the solution.
Well, we cannot resolve the Ukraine-Russia situation, but in terms of the safety of Nigerians, we should be in touch with our embassy in Kiev to update us about the situation. They must have information from the Nigerian association there to keep tabs and hope for the best. But honestly, there is very little option left to us now until peace returns to that country.
Thank you so much. We do wish our brothers and sisters who are trapped there safety to return back home. Thank you so much, Ambassador and Group Captain. Thank you so much for coming. That's our show for tonight. I run out of the studio because totally out of time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure Kimale. Bye for now.